Welcome to Culmination, where we're not experts, but we sure have a lot to say. In the process of becoming our best self, I have with me the athlete Jake Isakson to discuss confidence. And with that said, let's get started. So, Jake, what is confidence?
Well, hi all. I'm Jake Isakson, as he introduced. I play soccer. I run track. Expert ping pong player. But like Casey said, I'm a pretty confident guy. And then, so what is confidence? On the internet, if you just look it up, confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's abilities or qualities. So I think the key word here is appreciation of one's abilities. What I think we can translate that to in the perspective of confidence in a definition we can understand is having pride in your thoughts. And what that means to me is understanding that what you say actually matters. Your opinion matters. The things that you are thinking can impact others. And obviously we'll talk about this later, but overconfidence can sort of overshadow the importance of just having confidence in general. But yeah, I think confidence in a general way is just having pride in what you think and putting that into words, into speech.
That's an interesting word that you use, pride, because
it has a negative connotation usually, but in this case, I feel like it's sort of a human sentiment of sorts to have pride in yourself.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. I didn't actually think of it in that. I thought of it as a neutral term because obviously pride can be negative as it's one of the 7 deadly sins. But I mean, obviously you see pride used in better contexts, but it's just interesting to me at least because I would say confidence is more of certainty in terms of myself. So do you want to elaborate more on that pride? Like, why would it be pride?
I feel like for people who aren't confident, their issue is that they don't think that what they say matters, and and that's one of the big issues. The other issue is that they're scared of what they will say will be ill received. It won't, like, people, society, classmates, friends won't receive it how they're thinking about it. And that's the main reason people struggle with confidence, from my experience, from my friends, even myself. You're worried about the repercussions of what you say. But this ability to have pride in what you say, what I mean is that I guess it is a sort of certainty in what you say and your own beliefs and stuff. It's sort of like knowing that where was I going with this? I'm sorry.
You don't seem very confident there, bro.
I lost my train of confidence. But yeah, it really just comes down to knowing that, like, what you say, like, no matter what people think about it, it's what you believe. And whether that's your word, you use certainty, you're certain in your beliefs, or if you're just prideful of it, like, it can change everything, but you think it's worth, like, saying to other people, then you should be confident about it,
Yeah, and I do want to say that I like that you use that word because I almost see pride as like the step up from certainty. It's like the first peg is you're certain with your beliefs. Like, basically, in a sense, what I believe, I am sure that is what I believe, versus like being indecisive of like, oh, well, what if I think this or that? But when you're prideful, it takes that a step further because not only are you certain, but you take pride in that. You're like, oh, my opinion matters. And it almost gives you this willpower inside, or just power, that allows you to, I guess, express this pride, this certainty. Is that kind of how you feel?
Yeah, and I think that's huge. Like, if you're not have any pride in what you think, like, you're never gonna be able to ever express your true opinions on things, and that's I mean, that's not a way to live your best life, like.
Right.
Like, you got to be able to express yourself, and in order to do that, you have to have some sort of confidence in some of your beliefs.
Yeah. So I guess that leads me to the second question. How can we become confident?
Well, one, so first we have to decide what, like, in my head, the checklist I go through, the main thing, like, I don't usually think about how confident I am. I like to think about what are the repercussions of what I'm about to say? How will it be received? How will it impact others? So once we're able to diagnose that well, confidence will come a lot easier because we'll have that intuition to know when I should say something, when shouldn't I, stuff like that, how it impacts others more
Okay.
quickly. And if we're able to grasp that quicker, we're able to be more willing to speak up about things because we're used to doing that when we talk.
Yeah. Do you have like a personal example of that? Of when you had that thought process and what you did?
I mean, I do it all the time. I mean, because
Well,
like
give me an example.
I feel like everyone does that all the time. It's just I don't know. Let me think of an example. Um, I mean, let's just say before you're about to tell a joke, right? You have to make sure it's an appropriate audience. Like, make sure, like, when you before you tell a joke, you need to ask yourself, do you think this will be received well? If the answer is no, there's no sense in telling it. Like,
Mhm.
I know sometimes, like, and sometimes we misjudge that. Like, I misjudge that all the time, and everyone just hits you with the silence, the stare, like, what did you just say? Yeah, but I mean, yeah, with more and more practice, that ability to judge when you should say things and when you shouldn't will come more clearly. And once you get that step, like once you're able to grasp that, the actual confidence of speaking up becomes a lot easier.
Mm. So it starts with reading the room, like taking the temperature.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
not just jokes, it's like when it's a sad vibe, like you don't wanna be cracking jokes
Exactly. Yeah.
or
It
whatever.
social awareness, if you will. And even
Yeah.
beyond that, like human awareness, like there's just some things you don't say. There's some things that will be ill received. You don't like it's it overarches a lot of different themes is what I'm trying to say. But
Right. I mean, there's also just common courtesy.
yes, courtesy is big. Um,
Yeah.
so today, for example, I've been one. So I struggle with some. Everyone struggles with confidence issue. It doesn't matter if you're a generally confident person. There's gonna be things that you're worried about. So, for
Mhm.
example, today I'm in piano class, right? And I've been working on a song for a month, and I was supposed to perform it today. And I was pretty nervous about it. Like I was sweating and everything, not just because the room was hot, even though it was really hot, but I was
Yeah.
sweating, right? And I'm getting nervous because I know I worked so hard to accomplish something, but like it's still weighing on me. So that's a situation where I don't have to make the decision, but just that's where it's the fear of how it will be received by everyone else. I like the question is not whether or not I should do it. It's just what happens if it goes poorly. So
Mm.
that's an extension of this. It's not really judging it before there. It's just you have a fear of how it will be received, even if you know it's the right thing to do. So like I had to perform this piece, but like I'm still nervous. I'm gonna muck it up, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, those moments are always interesting if you actually dissect, like, in the moment, what you are thinking, because it's this inevitability of, "Well, I've been preparing this for a month. I need to perform this." But you just have all of this anticipating fear of just, God, what if I mess up? And not only like it just has so many repercussions to it because
yeah,
not only do you feel disappointed within yourself when you mess up, but also somebody might notice and they might tease you or say something. Maybe they won't, but you think they will anyway, and that weighs on you. Like
yeah. So
how can we clear our minds when we're in that moment?
one big thing that I like to do. So I'm a track athlete, right? So track races, like I get really nervous before them. Like I don't express it that way, but in my mind, it's a chaos, right?
Mhm.
But especially like senior season now, I'm like injured a lot. Like, is this gonna be my last race? Am I gonna tear something? Something bad gonna happen? Like that's always weighing on my head. Even every practice, like I'm always nervous something's gonna go wrong, and that's not a good mindset. But I'm able to manage it because I tell myself going out and doing this is better than not even attempting it at all. That's why I like to think about it. So, like for example, let's say I got a big mile race to do at a track meet, like I did a couple weeks ago, right?
Mhm.
When I'm warming up for it, like 20 minutes before, I'm super nervous, right? I just tell myself, no matter how I do, this is over in 5 minutes, and no matter how I do, this is better than not doing it at all. And I feel like that mentality helps me get through a lot of things. Like, for example, today on piano, I didn't necessarily have to perform today. I was mentally ready to perform today. I was done with the song. I'm like, I'm ready to perform this. I
Mm.
told myself I would be more disappointed if I didn't perform at all than to perform it and do poorly. Like
Yeah.
I like that's how I like to think about things. think about what would happen if I didn't do this. I would be more disappointed, so I would just rather go ahead and do it.
To play devil's advocate real quick,
Yes,
why why not just give up? It's a lot easier.
it is a lot easier, but that for me personally, we have to keep in mind that everyone has standards for themselves, certain expectations for themselves, goals, missions, stuff like that. And
Mm,
when we just get this mentality of giving up when we're nervous, when things aren't going our way, that never allows us to reach those goals. Like
right.
whether it's piano or track or whatever you're passionate about, if I just gave up right before I was about to reach something, 20 minutes before it's about to happen, I would never be able to reach anything. Like you can't have that mentality. Like the way I think about it is anything's better than just giving up. Now there are certain situations in which you should give up, like when there is when the benefit of actually doing it is in, like, no matter how well you do, the benefit of actually doing it is completely outweighed by the fact of it'd be better to give up. Like, I'll give an
Mhm.
example. I know someone who was on a soccer team, right? Everything was acted against them. They played 7 games and got 0 minutes. They sat on the bench the entire time because the coach had a vendetta with them. There was a lot of beef.
Ugh.
Um, she didn't get a play at all, and there was no situation. They talked to athletic director, they talked to assistant coaches. Everyone agreed that she should go in, but the head coach would not let him in, and the athletic director would not budge because he's um not a good athletic director. I'm not gonna bash him more than I need to. But the point
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
story is she was in a situation where just sitting on the bench for the remaining 2 months of the season was just simply not worth her time to go through the emotional pain of, will I go in? Will I finally go in? And at the end of each game, never getting in. Like,
Mhm.
especially like maybe if it's your junior season, I can understand that because then you're preparing for your senior season. But this is her last time ever. And like sitting on the bench at senior night is absolutely crushing, knowing
Gosh.
that you didn't even get to go in. Why am I even here? The coaches don't respect me. I'm not really friends with any of the other players. So I feel like in a situation like that, you just gotta cash your chips in and say, my time is spent better elsewhere. But when it's something that you're even when something that you're really passionate about and you're put in positions to succeed, even if there's tribulations along the way, you should go along with it. Don't give up. Anything is better than giving up if the potential outcome of actually doing it is better at all than giving up.
Mhm. It's a hard decision to know when in a situation that you described, to know when you should give up. And I also had a thought about arguments where think about it as something like I don't we're not going to talk about this but like politics as that's a big thing people talk about now. Um people argue, they scream at each other. It it becomes something that isn't actually about the subject matter, but is really just like it's just like a dominance competition. Like, oh, I'm smarter than you. I know the facts, and you're ignorant and stupid, and you need to believe what I believe. I mean, obviously, this isn't just politics. This is any
Everything.
other topic. Like literally any stupid argument that could be made. Um, it's important and it's very hard to know when to give up or drop out in a situation like that. And I'm going to use that word that you brought up in the beginning. It's hard because of your pride, but
Hmm.
it's almost
Yes.
more prideful, at least in my opinion, to swallow your pride.
Yes, that takes a lot of willpower to be
That
able
is
to just
hard. That is hard. To like when you're going at it because somebody ate the last like I don't know, Kit Kat bar and you're on like a camping trip and they ate the last one and you called dibs or something. And you're just like, dude, but and you just go at it for way too long to fess up, say this is not worth anyone's time. I'm not benefiting from this. This
exactly.
conversation's going nowhere. To back out of that, that's
Yeah.
so hard, man.
And that's it really is. And that's where like you have to train your judgment abilities before you're doing it. Like obviously someone eats your Kit Kat, you're gonna be a little upset. And like you gotta have that emotional release of sorts. Everyone needs some sort of catharsis, if you will. But
Right.
once you like once you're like getting in that heated argument, you really have to ask yourself, what am I doing? Like you said, what do I benefit from this? And the answer is nothing. You're only causing harm. Like the Kit Kat's not coming back. Nothing
Yeah.
is gonna like like you have to be able to like train yourself to be able to stop in situations like that. And then like for example, like you were saying, arguments about politics. When you know the other side's not going to budge and you're not letting yourself budge, there's no point in arguing. And a lot of
Exactly.
there's no point. It's just going to strain the relationship. It's going to cause way more harm than zero good. So
Yeah, and you also just have to, similar to how you said earlier about reading the room, like having that social awareness, you have to know what the argument is actually about. Because, like I said, most arguments, whether it's about a Kit Kat bar or I don't know, anything political or whatnot, name any other example of something that people could argue about. Like, is this about what you're supposedly talking about? Or is this just, I want to prove a point. I want to show that I'm smarter than them. I want to see them get down on their knees and bow down to me. Because, like deep down, we all want that to happen. Like when you enter an argument, it's like you want to be the dominant force.
yeah,
But is
as
that
humans,
really worth it? Did you really win anything, bro?
yeah, I feel like we're sort of wired, especially like people who have siblings. Like you're wired to want to win arguments. Like that's just who
Oh
we
yeah,
are. Like
siblings is another good example.
yeah, but especially you have to be able to train yourself in any situation to just judge when you should just stop talking, drop the subject, and
Right.
that's crucial.
And do you think dropping out, even though it might sound counterintuitive, do you think that's a sign of confidence?
Absolutely. You're confident in your decision to drop out. And that's honestly more confident than speaking about the topic to begin with, honestly. Like you
Hmm,
said, it takes a lot more willpower to be able to sit yourself out of a heated argument where you know there's no benefit from it. In my personal experience, because I know I've struggled with this a lot, you just have to drop out. No, and when you don't drop out, bad things happen. A lot of
right.
stories like that in my life. But but yeah, I would argue it is absolutely an example of confidence to be able to just drop out like that.
Right. Just having that self-assurance that this is
This
not
is the
worth
right
it.
decision. But go back to definition: appreciation of one's own thinking
Mm,
that that's the right decision.
yeah. So now that we're on the topic of this, though, how can we avoid becoming overconfident, too pompous, or even arrogant?
Yeah, that's goes back to this idea of actually it's multiple ideas. First one I'll touch on is the idea of reading the room. Like if you can like while you're talking, if you can look out and like see the vibes of the room and you see people are looking at each other, like, is this guy still talking about himself? Like you have to like when you get looks like that frequently, you know you're overconfident. And also like I like to limit myself like on how much you talk about yourself on a day. Like
Mm,
I feel like that's good to set certain limits for yourself. And also, let me give you an example. Like, as a nerdy person, grades are very competitive at our school. And that's just the way it is. And sometimes, like, when you get a good grade on a test, like, let's say you get like a 98 or something, the class average was a 70 or something. You're
yeah.
gonna like I refrain from doing this. I hate it when people do it because I know how it makes me feel. You go around to people saying, "What'd you get?" And then they say, "Oh, I got 71." And they say, "Oh, I got 98. It wasn't that hard," or stuff like that. Like, obviously, we all make mistakes like that sometimes, but like, you have to say, how does the person who got a 71 feel when I say this? Like, why am I telling him I got 98? It's in my opinion, it's purely malicious. Like, you're just trying to show off. There's no benefit to it, and that really is like overconfidence. Like, don't put yourself in situations like that. Like, it comes down to asking yourself to check your own motives. Why are you saying what you're about to say? It's not just how will it be reacted to. You have to ask yourself, what do I gain from this? Why am I saying it? It's a
Mhm.
multi-step judgment process.
Yeah, it's like the arguments too. It's just like you just want to show off. You want to prove something. But also, I don't know if I've touched upon this in previous episodes, but there's this, grades aren't even everything. So even though you can make a quick comparison of, oh, this guy got a 98, I got a 71. They slept during all of U.S. history class, and I was busting my bum trying to scrape by with a B or something. But you have to take into account every other skill that you have and they have. They might have a really good test taking skill, but I'm saying this from my own experience. I'm not good at tests, but I can retain information. Like I remember things from like 2 years ago from history class that if I asked any of those people who got 100s on every test, they probably wouldn't know what I was talking about. But like that doesn't mean I'm better than them because they still got the better grades. So can you really compare?
And I think like a big issue that people has is you don't even need to compare. Have your own personal standards. Like obviously you can compare to determine what your standards should be to begin with, but like once you get to a point like we're seniors now, you should have your own standards for yourself. How hard am I going to try and what grade do I expect myself to get? Like I don't feel like the big comparison, like you were saying, like, oh, just because you get good grades, I'm so better in other qualities. We don't even need to have that mentality. We just need to
Yeah.
have the mentality of bettering ourselves. Like, no, not that sounds pretty, like, I mean, still helping others, but like the mentality of like, we don't need to compare ourselves to others. Focus on our own personal goals in a sense.
Right. Because you can't compare. And I think that's the thing that takes that idea home. It's you shouldn't compare because you can't. Because you're an entirely different person, raised from an entirely different family with an entirely different set of values, with an entirely different wiring in your brain that makes you think different things, entirely different experiences, backgrounds, predispositions. Like, you are nothing like any of these other people. You have your own strengths and weaknesses. You shouldn't even compare. And I like what you said because in a sense, if you are going to compare to yourself from the past.
See if you've improved. Absolutely. It's about personal growth. That's what this whole
Right.
podcast is about. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we're all seniors, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
whole like college application process, it's certainly given people a higher standard. Like I think it's helped a lot of people realize that there will always be someone better than you at something. There will always be someone who's done more. That's why you can't go out trying to compare everyone, try to beat everyone, because you're never going to be able to do it. Like
Right.
that's why it really comes down to like focusing on your own personal development, how much you've grown from your previous like level.
Yeah, and you can be your best self, but you can't be your best insert name of somebody you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was a bit contrived, but hopefully you know what I mean.
No, that's actually like spot on.
Yeah, yeah. Um so yeah, moving on from that, we've obviously like touched upon these things, but do you want to give me the rundown of what are the exact benefits of being confident? So like at this point, you've made the adjustments, you've thought about it, you've given yourself goals and standards, and you have hobbies and good friends. What are the benefits?
Well, you just mentioned a lot of them. Let me give you an example. So, I was playing golf with my dad at the Blue Ash Golf Course about 2 months ago, and I had applied to work for the golf course this summer, like 5 months before that. Still waiting to hear back about it. Other people already started hearing back in callbacks, and I still didn't. It was very frustrating for me because I'm just thinking, why am I not getting a callback? And I later learned out that it is a lot about who you know, and but like beyond that, even if you don't know anyone, you got to step up to the plate and be confident about it. Like go like so what that meant in the context of golf is me and my dad were golfing there like 2 months ago, and I
Mhm.
see the boss, like the man who would be hiring me on the golf course. Well, I actually asked to see if he was there first. I asked the front desk at Blue Ash, but
Right.
that bit of confidence there, and then going to see him on the golf course and just go up to him and saying, hey, I applied a couple months ago, and I would really appreciate if you could take a look at my application, and I was wondering when I'd hear back. I said something like that. I told him who I was, who I knew. I told him I knew some of the workers there also because I knew that would help me out.
Yeah.
But that bit of confidence there, it really earned me the job because at that point there were only 2 spots left. He'd already given out 4 and hadn't even looked at my application yet.
Oh
So
wow.
that bit of confidence is the reason I have a job, and I actually start this Saturday, which is exciting because I like golf. But anyway, like that confidence got me the job. Like sometimes in life, you actually like need to say, I need to make this decision right here. I need to talk to this person. And I think that's what got me this job. I would 100% would not have gotten it if I didn't go up to him at the golf course. And that was right after I chunked my 3-iron off the tee. Like it was not looking good. And I still went up to him, and you know what he said to me after I talked to him? He said
What?
to me, he said to me, I've never seen someone like my. Oh shoot, what was it? I want to get the exact wording. It was along the lines of saying, "I'm really impressed with your confidence, given how young you are. We don't see a lot of workers that young being that confident." So
Ooh.
it was well received. Like when you're our age, confidence is 99% of the time not going to be a bad thing. It's going to be well received, in my
Right.
experience at least. Obviously, there's situations where it's bad, but for the most part, it's going to help you out in life immensely. That's with jobs. I have another job example. So my dad, when he was obviously he got his 4-year engineering degree, he's interviewing for jobs, right? This is in 1986 or something, and
Wait.
he's
Real quick. Are you
yes.
like clicking something or
Oh,
what?
can you? Oh, yeah, that's a Capri Sun wrapper. That's my bad. Yeah, so that. Oh shoot, sorry. Did you hear me slurping it?
Yeah.
Hey, my
Okay,
bad.
keep going, but just try not to make noises.
Yeah, I'll be fidgety. Anyway, so my dad, he was telling me about this a couple weeks ago. He had an interview lined up with 3M, which was a big hiring company. We know 3M, like the tape, all the hangers and stuff.
Mm,
They were hiring engineers. 1986. They got him a limo when he got at the airport, and he got in the limo. Right, they're driving him to the 3M office building where he's about to get interviewed. So he has a bunch of resumes with him. He's getting all that stuff done, and in that limo he went out. There's this like dude in a nice suit, blah blah blah. So being the outgoing guy my dad is, he went up to him and introduced himself. He's like, "Hi, I'm Paul Isakson. I just got my engineering degree." Blah blah blah. And the dude is actually the CEO of Anheuser Busch, which is the biggest beer brewing company maybe in the country, but it's huge, and it was in St. Louis, so it's huge where he was. But an incredible opportunity, right, to get a
mm,
job there. Like this is huge, right? And he kept on going, and he had resumes in his hand, and he was telling me about this, and he's like, for some reason I did not have the confidence to just go up to him and say, if you ever like need an engineer, I have my resume right here. um Give me a call if you're ever hiring soon. And the dude probably would have been like, damn, I respect this guy's confidence. I might follow up with one of my advisors to reach out to him. But he didn't do that, and he just, like, opportunities will fly by you. That's the point of this. You have to go out to seize the opportunities. Like,
right.
that was an incredible opportunity. Like, just happens by chance. But he did not, like, he took the first step, but he didn't completely seize it. And he would have had an incredible opportunity to apply for a dream job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when those opportunities in life show up, you have to tackle them. You have to go after them. So
Yeah.
that's another benefit of confidence, obviously. I believe that was the topic before I started crunching my Capri Sun wrapper.
Right. That reminds me of baseball, as that's a sport I've recently this year picked up.
Mm,
It's kind of, I'm gonna use it in a metaphorical sense. So when you're at the bat, you're in position, you're ready to hit the ball, you're looking at the pitcher who's about to throw the ball, and then you watch the ball, and in this moment, timing is everything. Like it is the most instantaneous thing ever.
yeah.
Everything matters in this moment. Where is the
Hmm.
ball going? Is it swerving too much towards you that you have to get out of the way, or is it going the other way? Is it a perfect strike down the home plate?
Yeah.
Do you hit the ball? Do you swing early? Do you swing late? Do you swing powerfully? Do you bunt it? Like everything matters in that moment. And the entire game and your entire team is basically at stake here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
That
a nice metaphor because you shouldn't swing at everything. I mean, I do, but that's because I'm inexperienced. But in this sense, you shouldn't swing at everything because then you're gonna strike out. Like, there's some
yes.
opportunities that you shouldn't go for, you know? You just
Yeah.
shouldn't. You have to make the right call.
Yeah.
But then there's some moments where that ball is right down the line. It's very fast, so you have to be ready. But if you hit that ball, it
Home run,
just may
baby.
be a home run.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's weird how confidence
It's
confidence
difficult.
sorry, but let me just say this. It's definitely like a trait and skill that people have. But in a
Yeah.
sense, it's like it's how you determine risks in your life. You basically up the chances of something good or something bad happening. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's what I was talking about with the whole judging the situation sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
baseball, split second. Opportunities in life, opportunities fly by you. And, if you strike out, you get back up. 3 innings later, you go back up to the plate. It's no biggie, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a pretty solid metaphor with the baseball.
Yeah, and I like that you said that. Like, you will be up to bat pretty soon.
And you will strike out in life. Like everyone strikes out, but you can't just say, "Oh, I'm retiring from baseball." Nah, everyone strikes out. You got to get back up. You got to get back up to the plate. It's that simple.
Right. And obviously this applies to a job or a relationship.
Yes.
Uh I don't know, where do you think relationships kind of fall under this? Cuz I guess that would be interesting to touch upon.
Yeah. So I'm in a relationship with my girlfriend for over a year and a half, so I know a little bit about this subject. Yeah.
The
Oh, sorry,
experience.
that came off poorly. See, that's another thing where it's like there's no point in flex. I was trying to
No,
say
I
so
don't
like I
think
have
you were
some
flexing. I thought you were just explaining it.
no, I was trying to give some sort of ethos, but see, like that could have been received poorly from someone who's like, I'm so lonely. Like, see, that's the situation where I might actually hold back and not say that. But anyway, going
Mm.
back to the point, yeah, with that, confidence and trust sort of intertwine a little bit. So when you first start a relationship with someone, obviously confidence is important. Confidence is sort of an attractive characteristic, um,
Mhm.
whether it's for friends, partners, stuff like that. Anyone, like confidence is a desirable trait.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is judgment is crucial in those first couple of months, like making yourself across as a desirable person. And that should be honest. That should be an honest perception. You shouldn't just be lying about yourself. But it's be confident in what you should be confident about. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm going on a first date with a girl. I'm not just gonna bring out my Pokemon card collection on the first date.
Dude,
Like,
what are
that's
you
just not
doing?
that's not a good idea. Like, don't be confident in what you think would be good to be confident about. Don't hold back in what would be good. Or even if it's maybe Pokemon cards are your life and you don't want to meet a girl unless she's accepting your Pokemon cards, whip out the shiny Charizard on the first date. Like it's that simple, but
The
understand
best
what you
part is that
should be
this is
doing.
not a euphemism.
I didn't mean it like that. Or am I? But no, I really didn't mean it like that. Um
Okay, keep going. I know you didn't. I threw in the joke. Let's move on, okay?
Anyway, but yeah, just understanding what to be confident about. It comes down to training your judgment. So much of what I'm saying is just coming down to training your judgment. So going back to relationships though, once you get in a couple months, you should be confident with this person honestly about everything. You should be able to disclose your inner feelings, how you feel about certain topics, sometimes even your political beliefs, even though from my personal experience that can cause a lot of issues. But um yeah, like when you trust someone that much, confidence should come easier and easier. So I think trust does play a little bit into how confident you interact with other people, and
Mhm.
that especially is shown in relationships. But yeah, I would say that's the correlation that I've noticed.
I mean, obviously, trust is a big component because, I mean, I bet most introverts, if you've noticed them, they're extremely expressive and confident around their friends, but that's
Yeah,
just
people who
because
they
they trust
trust.
them.
Yes, absolutely. I have noticed that. That is a serious thing.
Yeah. Do you wanna continue? That was just my side note.
Oh, let me try to think of a good example. Um, yeah, but so yeah, once me and my girlfriend we got through like let's say our first 4 or 5 months, like we really started to open up about our past, things that we're sensitive about, things that we're passionate about, to the point where we like are willing to pretty much tell each other almost anything. And that really is because our confidence with each other is so strong because we trust each other so much. And
Mm,
like that relationship doesn't have to be romantic where you can build that trust with someone. Like I had that same amount of trust with some of my friends. Like you can build these relationships with anyone where you have so much trust where confidence is almost automatic. Like,
right.
and I think that's important to build those relationships with people. No one should have no one that they can confide in. Like you need to like if you don't have anyone, like go out and meet someone. Like that's probably sounds really hard for someone who doesn't have someone they can confide in, but like I feel like that's crucial to like us as humans. Like you have to be able to express yourself. That's huge. Like a lot of people struggled with depression during quarantine because there was so little human interaction. They didn't have people to express themselves around, like stuff like that. And
Right.
that was a huge issue. Like but in general, like let's say there was no quarantine, we need to be able to express our opinions with someone, express how we're feeling, our beliefs, stuff like that. And I feel like confidence enables that. But in order to have that confidence for a lot of people, there needs to be some sort of trust. So that's
I
why,
mean, confidence is trust.
yes, yes.
I mean, kind of. I know that was a pretty blunt
It,
claim, but kinda.
confidence is boosted by trust. How about that?
Okay.
Because, yeah, I'd like that a little bit more. Confidence is influenced by trust.
Okay, yeah. Keep going, sorry.
Well, you got another question for me? I I don't know
Oh,
if I have.
we need the crutch?
Well, I don't know. Do you have, let me think of another example of confidence. Um,
Um,
oh, so I have a situation. Let me explain this. So,
sure.
someone I know, they were proposing to talk to the school board about creating some sort of mental health program that helps kids with like the struggles of like anxiety and different stuff that challenges kids in school. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. That's crucial. That's huge. Whether it comes from informing teachers, or just helping the students like express themselves, stuff like that. I thought that's a brilliant idea, especially mid pandemic or even after it, like when we're still like adapting and stuff. But
Yeah.
the ideas that this person had, I wasn't going along with. Like one idea that this person had was they said that kids should not have to stand up and present to classes. And I can't get behind that because obviously it's really hard for some people, whether you have an anxiety disorder or you're just nervous. And everyone will struggle with this at some point where you're nervous to present, nervous to perform about something. But
Right.
if we like just back out, if we say you don't have to do this, don't challenge yourself, it puts you in a terrible position for the rest of your life because you have to be able to do that in the real world. You have to be able to be confident in the things you work on, the things you're passionate in. And I feel like if we didn't make kids present in school, like that would just they would be going in blind for like what's going to hit them later in life. And like let's say it's someone with an anxiety disorder, how are they going to react on a completely bigger stage? Like let's say it's a big job presentation or it's a big athletic event, a big party you're hosting, something like that. How are you going to be able to handle that? So I think it's huge to be able to practice your confidence in a school environment where it's less significant to the future of our lives and like the future, like or not the future, just the life we're living. like it has less role in how our life goes at that stage than
Mhm.
it would be to like not do it at all. Like we have to practice confidence at schools. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that's where I was going with that. Sorry, I was a little wordy, but
No, 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 it's good. In a sense, I almost view that as kind of not what you said, but what you were talking about. That idea of eliminating presenting. Isn't that kind of insulting if you think about it? To say that just because these kids have anxiety, they can't do these things? It's like you're limiting them.
yeah. And I totally get that. And I'm not gonna go on a tangent because I want to be judged, but
Ugh.
yeah, I totally agree.
Well, again, this isn't my definite opinion, and obviously there's a lot of merit to um what that person was saying, you know? Like you can't just write that off just because you disagree with it, you know?
Yeah. But
Because
yeah,
there's a source
that
from
won't
where
fly.
what was that?
I was just saying that won't fly anywhere in later stages in life. You can't just do that saying, I'm nervous about this. I have anxiety about this. I'm not going to push myself. You have to
Right,
push.
but they're also and I just wanna say I agree with you in that opinion, personally, but there is kind of merit, to bringing that point up because you can disagree with that, um, but in a sense, you have to look into why they said that or where they're coming from, because because a lot of people do have anxiety,
Yes,
and
yes,
agreeing with you, I don't think that's the answer, but I think they're Uh, kind of like talking through it more would be beneficial rather than just saying,
absolutely.
"Nope, that's dumb. That doesn't work." Because even if you firmly believe that, I don't know, like, again, you can't just write it off because there's merit.
I think it's a step in the right direction because I understand this person's point. Like,
Mhm.
don't put this person in an uncomfortable situation. And that has merit in some situations, I agree, but like there needs to be a better approach to tackling the issue of anxiety in students at school. Like
Yeah,
it's a heavy issue. Like a lot of people struggle with this. So there has to be something that gets done. Whether it's education, which I think what would be even more important would just be being able to talk to someone about it, how you're feeling, talking through this with someone who really cares about it.
mhm,
So I think those resources need to be opened up a lot more. And obviously, like we have a school psychologist, but a person with anxiety is not just going to be like if they're struggling with confidence to like go up to the board and present, how are you gonna have the confidence to go up to the psychologist and admit like one of your like deepest insecurities? Like
right, it's
there,
hard to do that.
yeah. But at the same time, you can't just force the resource onto someone. So the solution to the issue would be very difficult. So, but I'm sure there is one out there. I think some time needs to be devoted to finding a good workable solution to it.
Right, and it'll probably just be better in any situation rather than just this one. But to think more about questions rather than here's my idea for a solution. Because I think a lot of people argue too much and it's kind of how I was talking about in the beginning where the argument starts as like a discussion on subject matter that two people are talking about, but it derails because you start defending yourself and trying to attack
Mm.
rather than trying to find the original goal, which was to
To
find the
educate.
answer.
To educate and find the answer. Actually, yeah, finding the answer, absolutely. Or just yeah, finding the answer, and even below that, just expressing yourself. Like sometimes
Right.
we got to get stuff on our chest. We got to say, I have this brilliant opinion, and then maybe from talking to someone else, they have a brilliant opinion, and then you adapt it to. Like that should be the goal of discourse. Oh, sorry, that sounded like discord of like discussion. Like
No,
be
no, no,
able to.
discourse is the right word.
Oh, okay. So discourse. Like I think the goal should be to better our opinions, form a common ground of sorts that tackles the most issues on whatever obviously whatever you're arguing about.
Right.
So, yeah, but just like being super firm in your belief, that's some serious, like, that's too prideful. That's overconfidence right there. You don't want that. You have to have the ability to have your opinion changed. And
Right.
that's huge.
There's other people out there who can challenge you. And wouldn't that be great to have a challenge? Wouldn't it be boring if you're always the big man on campus who's always right? You got to have some sort of challenge.
Like, yeah, look at the movie Megamind. Like, I've always seen a little bit of it. I might have a vague interpretation of it, but in the movie Megamind, the supervillain actually wins. And it's like, well, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It looks like the supervillain actually wins. And it's like that never happens in a superhero movie. What the heck? And once he got to the top, once he was in charge, he had nothing else to do. He was like, what am I doing? And he actually became the superhero. I think. I don't really remember that well. But that's just crazy to
Wait,
think
no,
about.
no, 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 no. It was the superhero who saved the city against all evil, got bored because there was basically nothing left to do, became the villain, and then the said villain became the good guy as the
Ah,
wait,
I gotcha.
kind of.
But
My Megamind knowledge is a little rusty. I'm sorry,
the
but
same here. So, like, yeah, but the same point. Like, once you get to the top, like, what else? What are you gonna do? Like, um, what was the question related to that? Oh, talking about how like you can't be so firm in like your belief. Okay, yeah, that works well.
they're not too staunch. Like,
Staunch. Yeah,
never enter a debate. This is just a rule of thumb. Never enter a debate saying, I'm not going to have my mind changed.
yeah,
And on that note, bullet point 2 is don't go into it saying I'm going to change this person's mind. It
and like
shouldn't be that definite.
it really should not. Like, it should be go in with an open mind. Like, be confident in your opinion, but don't be so confident to a point where you think it's an ultimate truth. It Nothing is really an ultimate truth if it really comes down to it. Everything is dynamic, you know.
I do want to say this though. Your pride is at stake. It's a sacrifice.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to
Really?
sacrifice your pride, admit you're wrong. Like that's a huge thing in development of your personal character. Like admitting you're wrong and in the process making yourself a better person.
Right. If you really want to find the truth, like if you are just so dedicated to finding the truth and you just cling on to your opinion because you don't want to be proven wrong, and I'm saying this for personal experiences, it scares the heck out of me. And I feel immensely disappointed within myself when I basically get too caught up in my pride that I let the truth down. I stopped trying to find the truth because I wanted to defend myself in the most petty way by
Yeah,
holding on to my beliefs.
to the point where like you're more focused on winning than actually finding the truth, like you're saying. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then an example of that would be, have you seen the Steven Crowder like change my mind things?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like obviously I've seen most of them just because I thought they were pretty funny, but like when we like look at like what's actually going on, like he's going in like it's so satirical. He doesn't actually want his mind to be changed. Like if you listen to what he actually says, I think that's awful. He's not actually like trying to have his mind changed. He's so definite on what he thinks is right. He completely just disregards what other people have to say and just bombards them with facts that he has memorized when they don't have the facts ready. Like that's not really fair. He's not going in with an actual open mind. Like his whole premise of changing his mind is impossible because he's not willing to have his mind changed. Like,
I mean, I thought that was the point. I've never actually seen any of those videos, but I mean, when you see somebody at a stand like that, I think I take it as like try to change my mind.
yeah, it and then like I can't watch him anymore. Like, regardless of whether or not you agree with him, it's just like I don't like this. He's not actually going in with an open mind at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that said, it's like when someone says something blatantly wrong about anything, like if you know that it's wrong, you shouldn't let it slide. You should be confident enough to say, "No, that is wrong and here's why." Like you shouldn't shy away from being afraid of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like we've been talking about how you should stop yourself from being wrong. But also keep in mind that somebody else might be wrong and you might need to say something. And that can be hard too sometimes.
Yeah. So you also, yeah, having to be willing. to help someone else find that development, realizing that they're wrong, and maybe
But also being constructive about it and not being like,
constructive.
dude, you're wrong. No!
Yeah, I think constructive is huge. Like we say the buzzword constructive criticism all the time. That's like an actual good thing. Like that really helps people develop better opinions, better character, stuff like that.
Papa John's. Okay, sorry. I just force of habit.
Oh my.
What?
The Papa John's, man. He's got
Oh
some.
yeah.
I love Papa John's though. What's your top pizza place?
My top pizza
Like
place.
you had to get pizza right now. No, not like fancy pizza. Like we're not talking like two cities, like expensive pizza. We're talking like, I'm gonna order some pizza and bring it to my house.
I'd eat some pizza.
What are you getting?
Well, I guess I like Dewey's.
Dewey's. All right,
I
my
know I'm
top two.
kind of like a heretic for saying that because I work at a pizza place, but I don't know. I like Dewey's.
Yeah, my top two are Papa's and Dewey's. Dewey's, it's so to me, it's a lot different than Papa's. And like sometimes you're feeling different pizzas. Like, sometimes I'm feeling Jets. But sorry, this is off topic. Now I'm thinking about pizza also.
Well, you're very confident in your pizza.
And the thing is, like, I'm not saying mine is the ultimate truth. Like, not everyone has to think Papa's and Dewey's are the best. Like, you can even like Donato's, even though it's cheese.
No, I'm kidding. I like
Nah,
it.
like, but that's totally fine. I totally respect that. And like, it's something like that where there is no ultimate truth. Like, you have to be confident enough to be able to express your opinion on it, but not so overconfident to tell someone else they're wrong.
Right.
Like,
so do you think confidence is a gauge to help lead you to the truth, or just more so a guide to certainty of your own opinions? Yeah, because that's kind of the interesting inquiry that I've been thinking of.
Yeah. So I feel like it depends on what you're being confident about. And for the sake of arguments, for the sake of like expressing your opinions on a divisive issue, I feel like confidence can help you discover a lot of other people's opinions, because when you express yours first, if someone with a polarizing opinion, something completely different than yours, they're going to want to express their opinion, and that helps you open up to a lot of different perspectives. So I feel like that's constructive in that sense. So that will lead you closer to a certainty, but on a lot of arguments there is no certainty. I don't think there is the ultimate truth on a lot of it's different arguments. Yeah.
Yeah, and also how we talked about like the argument might not be about what you think it's about.
Exactly. Yeah. And that comes back to knowing when to stop, knowing when to swallow your pride, be confident enough to swallow your pride, admit
Right.
defeat if you will, if you want to view it as a defeat to your pride in order to develop as a person.
You're going to have to sacrifice your pride.
Yeah.
But even that can be prideful in a different sense. Well, also, I can't believe that we didn't really bring this up earlier, but I think I'm a more so confident person would avoid the argument all to begin with.
Like being so confident in your opinion to where you don't even want to hear it, like won't even like argue with someone else. Is that what you're saying?
No, so specifically, yeah, I should have elaborated. You're confident in handling the situation well enough that when you want to converse a different set of beliefs with someone about anything, Papa John's, politics, anything, if you are like a sign of confidence is avoiding an argument and more so just a civil debate. Like they can manage it to keep it a conversation that's constructive, that's meaningful, that's not hostile.
Yeah, I think that. That's more so courtesy than confidence. That's more so like human decency. Like you don't go into an
Are you
argument.
sure? Because that's like a skill.
It's
It's hard
absolutely a
to
skill.
keep
Yeah.
that balance, especially when the other person's on edge.
Yeah. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, that would take a lot of confidence. Like if someone's coming guns blazing at you in this big heated argument, and you're just sitting there like, let's take a step back. I feel like that takes a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like cooling down the situation before somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we covered most of the points with confidence. This has been a really, really long overdue episode because almost every other topic I've mentioned this specific one. Like just confidence's role in everything. It's crazy.
You should have sent me or Sakani a text earlier. We would have hopped on. Unless Sakani's was about confidence. I haven't scrolled up.
His was about motivation.
Oh, that's dope.
But that obviously has a lot of confidence to it.
Yeah.
So I guess before we end it here, as this is a good enough stopping point, I guess, what is any last thoughts, or what do you think is the big takeaway? Anything to leave the listener with that you think would be good for them to hear?
I'm assuming most of the listeners here are high schoolers, whether it be seniors or freshmen or whatever. You have to start training your judgment abilities pertaining to confidence now. Like that's big. It can be very small steps, like minuscule, and that's perfect because what confidence will enable you to do is to develop into a better person, develop into a better character, and develop in finding more certain opinions. Not certain, but like closer to holistic truth, stuff like that. Confidence has a lot of benefits, and I think it's huge to start working on that now because it will definitely benefit your life as we enter new stages of it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that was awesome.
Well, thank you for having me on, Casey. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch. I was gonna say, for coming on here, man.
I was doing an interview with OSU like a couple months ago, and it was so like it's so weird with Zoom interviews because like you want to come across as confident, and I think I said thank you so much for having me on here too early, and I think they still had more questions to ask me, and I'm like, oh god, I think I screwed up. But like I wasn't gonna go to Ohio State anyway, but like it's like situations like that where like you don't know that's tough, like where you don't know when you want to come across as confidence or if like you're gonna cut them off,
Right. There's definitely been moments in this episode that
Hey, but with the plastic wrapper thing, cut me off immediately. I'll feel bad for that. I was just fidgeting with it. I didn't even know my hand was next to the speaker. I'm an idiot.
I don't think there's anything I can do about that, but I'm glad I'm glad I said something. I'm glad I had the confidence to break the flow to tell you that.
How loud was it? Like was it bad?
It wasn't like loud, but you could just hear like things, just like in the background.
So like a dog bark in the background, but like times 1.5, somewhere around there.
No, a dog bark is way worse. I'm just gonna say that, but this was more frequent. Like
I got you.
Yeah. Just like in the, just like clicking noises or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. I hope you've become more confident while sitting down with us today, and I'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.